Hello everyone, this is Meenu Thakur. So in this session we will discuss another very important topic of economic subject that is very important of any kind of examinations like SABI, NABARD, UPSC and so on. That topic is balance of payment. So under this balance of payment, first we need to understand the definition or the introduction part of this term. Basically it is a systematic record of all the economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world during a specific period. That specific period usually 1 year. So in these transactions, in these economic transactions, we need to further again understand what exactly this transaction and to what related these economic transactions held. So basically these economic transactions include all those transactions which involve the transfer of title of goods, सर्विसेज, मनी एंड एसेट्स. तो जब एक कंट्री दूसरे कंट्री के साथ लेन देन कर रही है, चाहे वो गुड्स का लेन देन हो, चाहे वो सर्विसेज का लेन देन हो, या फिर ट्रांसफर ऑफ एसेट्स हो, रिडक्शन एसेट्स, क्रिएशन एसेट्स, सो दीज ऑल लिंक विद द balance of payment. Basically this balance of payment is a double book keeping system. What exactly this double book accounting system? Basically यहाँ पे दो तरीके के transactions होते हैं. When we purchase goods or services from outside, that purchase means import. When we import something from outside, that comes under the heading debit side of the account. When we export something goods, it may be goods or it may be services to rest of the world, that comes under the heading of credit. Why we are crediting? Because we are getting income in terms of the foreign currency. So hence we can say this is not a single entry system, this is a double entry system. So here we are exchanging goods and services and other assets with the rest of the world. And we need to again understand what exactly the purpose of maintaining this account. See, why we are maintaining? Because we need to know our strength and weakness of the economy in international relations. When we are purchasing, when we are exporting and importing with the rest of the world, then only we can understand our ability or our strength as per the economic transactions. By analyzing this BOP accounts of the last year, one can come to know the overall gains and losses. See, it definitely, if we export more than import, definitely we are in a gainful situation, we are in surplus situation. But if we importing more than exporting, then definitely we are in the deficiency situation. So that's why we need to maintain BOP, so that we would able to take preventive measures to reduce this deficiency. These statements give warning signals for future policy formation. See, this mistakenly it is written here BPO, that is balance of payment, that is BOP. Why we are maintaining, why we are doing such things? Because we all know in this globalization era we need interdependency, because in all the resources no one can be perfect, no one can be self-sufficient. So for that point, definitely we need to depend on other country to fulfill the necessity. So basically this is all about when one country maintaining their relations in terms of purchasing and selling of goods and services, and also getting loan, getting donations, even giving loans, giving donations across the world. That is all about your balance of payment. Who is the governing body across the world or at the international level? That is your IMF, International Monetary Fund. So basically this is the institution who look after all this balance of payment of all the nations at the international level. All categories of economic transactions comes under two broad categories, which comes under this broad heading, that is that are current account and capital account. So now we should understand one by one what exactly this current account and what exactly this capital account. So basically this current account means the short term transactions. So here we are dealing all the economic transactions done by private entity or the public entity in terms of the short period. But one thing is we need to know here, there is no creation and no reduction of liability. Suppose if one country purchasing anything from outside, so while purchasing something, in return we will payment the rupee, the amount of that particular thing to the other nation. So this is all about the current account. In this, no liability will create in future. So here this current account divided into three subheadings. First is trade in goods, that is also known as visible things. Second, trade in services, which is also known as invisible things. Third, we have transfer of payments. So let's start one by one. When we talk about this trade in goods, we will consider all the economic transactions related to the export of goods and import of goods, right? So this is your visible item of the current account. Next, transactions related to the services, which is invisible. It again divided into two parts. First is net factor income and second is net non-factor income. Factor, if this word factor related to the factors of production. Factors here related to the factors of production like labor, your capital, your land, labor, capital, your entrepreneurship. So in that returns, if suppose we can take an example, if outsider is getting income while working in India, so in return he is getting income, he is getting salary. So in the same way, if any Indian citizen who are working outside and getting payment, so that income comes under this heading. Here we use this net. So some net means we have to deduct something from the other heading. So net में यहाँ पे क्या होगा, जो बाहर वाला जो है वो जो काम कर रहा है, इंडिया में काम कर रहा है, उसकी इनकम जो इंडियन सिटीजन बाहर काम कर रहा है उसकी इनकम से डिडक्ट किया जाएगा. डेफिनेटली इफ इंडियन सिटीजन इज गेटिंग मोर देन NRI getting from India, then definitely we are in a surplus situation. In the same way, if we talk about this non-factor means all those items which are creating economic transactions without indulging into the factors of productions like shipping, banking, IT sector will come, insurance will come. So directly here we are exporting and importing of all these items that comes under the heading of trade in services. Next we have transfer of payments. Sometimes we gifts outside other nations. Sometimes we get gifts from outsiders. So these transactions also come under this current account because this particular entry is not creating any liability. Next, I have mentioned here remittances. It is a very important term that we need to understand. If any labor of India who are working outside and at the end of the month the part of salary he or she is sending to their home country, that part of salary is known as remittances, and definitely this transactions comes to India in the foreign currency. Afterwards it would exchange into home currency. So this is the largest component who carries the huge economic value in this current account, because a lot of people of India nation who are working outside. And next I have also mentioned here grants. Grants means some donations. We give donations, we get donations. So this is all about the current account. But here one more important point comes here, that is your balance of trade. In next slide I have mentioned clearly what exactly this balance of trade, but it is directly linked with the current account. Let me explain. Balance of trade is the difference between the monetary value of exports and imports in an economy over a certain period of time. So what happens, this balance of trade considering all the economic transactions which are held in terms of exporting and importing of goods, of only visible things, that is your balance of trade. So when we are exporting more than import, then definitely we would have trade surplus. But if we just we just getting more, we are doing just more imports than export, then definitely we will come under this heading, that is your trade deficit. और हमारे इंडिया में ज़्यादातर ट्रेड डेफिसिट ही होता है. आर ट्रांजेक्शन्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ ह्यूज करेंसीज, लेट सपोज डॉलर बिलियन की जो ट्रांजेक्शन्स हैं, दैट कम्स अंडर दिस इम्पोर्ट, एंड वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग अराउंड 60 बिलियन. जस्ट आई एम टेकिंग अ एग्जाम्पल. दिस 40 डॉलर बिलियंस का जो हमारा गैप है, दैट इज नोन एज deficiency. That is your trade deficiency. So this deficiency would be financed from using various sources, because here we need to fill this gap in terms of the foreign currency, and for that we are using the capital account, which comes in the next slide. So this is all about your balance of trade. So here before going into the detail of this capital account, one thing you should remember always: balance of trade is the part of balance of payment, but this balance of trade comes under this current account related to the visible things, that is your export and import of goods. So now we should understand this capital account. So one thing you should remember, this capital account which we are using in our country to fill the gap of trade deficiency which held in the current account. Majorly I am talking about this majorly. Now this capital account is known for long term transaction, one thing is here, and second, this capital account create liability. So this is an account which creates liability, which reduce liability. So before coming into this point, I would also describe here two terms, that is your debit and credit. Always remember why I am repeating these things, because most of the students whose background is technical BTech, that's why I am repeating this thing. Debit means all the expenditures, that is your negative thing, that is your loss which comes under this debit of the account. Credit means all those transactions which are known as surplus or known as income of a company, of any nation, that comes under this credit side of account. But one thing you should remember, this debit and credit, that is only in terms of the trading account, because this considers as in the different manners in the different accounts of the accountancy. So I am talking about the debit as expenditure in the trading account, and credit considered as income, right? So now this is capital account which is made for the long term purpose. Second, the goal of this account to create liability or reduce liability. Third, why we are using this capital account, to fill the gap of this trade deficit. Now we should understand the headings which comes under this capital account. This capital account further divided into three parts. First is investment, second is external borrowings, and third is external assistance. So to fill this trade deficiency, we can use any one of these. First, if we talk about this investment, these are the reserves which we are maintaining to fill the gap or any other purpose. So this investment further divided into two parts. First is direct investment, that is your FDI, equity. So these are the direct investments where people, where outsider, any individual or any institution who can invest into the Indian market. In return, they can also be a part of ownership right. So that is all about direct investment, that is known as foreign direct investment. Next we have portfolio investment. So under this lot of people would come, NRI people would come, FII, foreign institutions would come, participatory notes would come. These channels of investment would come. They would only focus into buying and selling of shares, that's it. They don't have any concern with holding the ownership right of company. These two terms I have explained in the capital market or your security market in a very nicely manner or in a very explained mode. You can refer my that videos. If we talk about this external borrowings, that is again carries an important role to fill the gap of this deficiency. Usually we borrow the short term debts from the external sources to fill that gap in terms which is really required for the very required in terms of the foreign currency. Next we have external assistance. So what exactly we are using this assistance in the form of government aid, intergovernmental, multilateral and bilateral loans. Suppose if India is maintaining their bilateral economic transactions with the Japan, so definitely India can borrow the amount of rupees from Japan in terms of their currency yen or in terms of dollar currency. So here I again explain FDI, like it is an investment made by a firm, individual in one country into business. You just can take a glance. I also explain types of FDI, horizontal, vertical, conglomerate. You just have a glance, you will definitely clear all the concepts. If you have any doubt, then you can ask a query in your comment box. So these are the routes which are there in our country for having this FDI, because there are so many sensitive areas where we cannot give permission for the FDI, fully FDI to outsiders. Why? Because the reason behind we are giving the ownership right to outsiders while taking this FDI, and that giving ownership right, there are some security kind of issues. Hence we are divided into various sectors where we are restricting the percentage of this FDI, like automatic route. Automatic route means when there's no requirement to take permission from RBI, like insurance up to 49%, medical 100%, pension 49%. There are so many examples which comes under this automatic route. Next we have government route, where we have to take permission from the government while receiving this FDI from outsider. So this is banking, public sector, broadcasting. So I have mentioned here, you can take a glance. There are also some sectors which are prohibited, like atomic energy generation, investment in chit funds, nidhi companies. So these are the sectors where we cannot receive FDI. Next we have this act which we have to maintain, to regulate all the inflows and outflow of foreign currency, foreign payment, securities and purchase of fixed assets by the foreigners. Next we have foreign exchange. Again we have a act which comes under this heading, to maintain, to regulate all these transactions so that we can bring the balanced situation in India. अगर suppose हमारे यहाँ पूरा का पूरा, if we getting huge foreign currency, then definitely we will be there to depreciate our home currency. So again this picture will be very dangerous for our economy's growth. So here we need to create balanced situation so that everything will be there in a positive manner and our home currency will not be depreciated more. Next we have foreign exchange reserve. That is a very important component which we are maintaining in India to fill the deficiency gap. Because why I am talking about more and more about this deficiency, because in India there are huge population, we come under this second largest population across the world. Demand is more, supply is less, and hence we are depending on the on supply of goods and services from outside. So that's why we have to maintain our reserves, because on other side our currency's value is not much high as compared to dollar's value in the international or other currencies in the international market. So for that context also we have to maintain our reserves in the foreign currency mode so that we can able to fill the gap of this deficiency. So these are some motives of foreign exchange reserves, like to keep the value of their currencies at a fixed rate. Countries with a floating exchange rate system use forex reserves to keep the value of their currency lower than the US dollar to maintain liquidity in case of an economic crisis. अब सपोज अगर हमने कहीं से व्यापार किया, इंडिया ने चाइना से कुछ सामान खरीदा है, ठीक है, इंपोर्ट किया है, तो अब उसको अगर हमें लौटाना है तो उसके लिए हमारे पास वो करेंसी होनी चाहिए, और जो आइडियल करेंसी है वो है आपकी डॉलर. अब मैं आपको ये चीज़ समझाती हूँ. जैसे कि आपका चाइना में रेनमिनबी करेंसी चलता है, ठीक है, और हमारे यहाँ पे रुपी करेंसी है. रुपीज़ का वहाँ कोई लेना देना नहीं है, और उसकी रेनमिनबी की करेंसी का हमारे इंडिया में कोई फर्दर यूज़ नहीं है. तो व्हाट वी यूज़ द कॉमन करेंसी, दैट इज़ योर डॉलर. तो डॉलर अगर उसके पास भी रहेगा तो उसको भी आगे यूज आएगा. तो हम पहले रुपीज को वी विल कन्वर्ट इनटू डॉलर. देयर आर सो मेनी डीलर्स, ऑथोराइज्ड डीलर्स, प्राइवेट डीलर्स हु रिसाइड्स इन इंडिया, हु आर रेडी टू हु मेंटेन देयर दीज कंट्रीज दीज करेंसीज, एक्सचेंजेस को मेंटेन करते हैं. तो हम क्या करेंगे, हम उनके पास जाएंगे, अपनी करेंसी रुपी को वी विल कन्वर्ट इनटू फॉरेन करेंसी, डॉलर करेंसी. देन वी विल एबल टू मेक द ट्रांजेक्शन, टू मेक दिस ट्रेड विद द चाइना. अब वो डॉलर करेंसी लेगा, उसको कन्वर्ट करेगा, तो वो उस चीज को एक्सेप्ट करेगा. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द नीड ऑफ दिस फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स इन इंडिया. सेंट्रल बैंक की जो होती है रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है दिस फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स. सो व्हाट ही ऑल्सो सप्लाइज फॉरेन करेंसीज टू कीप मार्केट स्टडी. मार्केट को स्टेबल करने के लिए भी आरबीआई इस फॉरेन करेंसी को सप्लाई करता है. क्यों ऐसा होता है, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपन्स इन इंडिया? There are some dealers when they would came to know Indians are demanding dollar, so what they do, they decrease the exchange rate. Why this decrease the exchange rate? So they used to say we are having shortage of dollar currency, so now you have to, let's suppose you have to give us rupees 100, then we will give you $1. So in this case the home currency's value is getting down in front of the value of dollar currency in the home country. So in this situation RBI also say I am the supplier of this foreign currency, so that he would take initiatives to create this balance situation and increase the exchange rate. ये बात याद रखना, एक्सचेंज रेट डिक्रीज होगा, मतलब 100 रुपये के बदले 1 रुपये, नहीं सॉरी 100 रुपये के बदले $1. तो डिक्रीज है. इंक्रीज वो होता है जब 70 रुपीज़ हमारे जो उसके $70 हमारे 1 रुपये के बराबर है, जो कि ऐसा हो नहीं सकता, ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि डॉलर करेंसी इज़ वेरी हॉट करेंसी इन द वर्ल्ड. Next, we have the motive to ensure that a country meets its foreign obligations and liabilities, जो मैंने आपको बताया deficiency को maintain करता है. That is all about this foreign exchange reserves which is maintained by RBI. So indirectly or directly we can say this balance of payment maintained by which authority? RBI और सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी ऑफ एनी कंट्री. ये बात हमेशा याद रखना, बिकॉज अगेन अ क्वेश्चन कैन आस्क हु इज द मेन बॉडी, द रेगुलेटिंग बॉडी हु रेगुलेट दिस बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट. यहाँ पे नाउ लेट्स सी वी हैव टू सी द कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स. बेसिकली इट हैज 4 कंपोनेंट्स. फर्स्ट इज फॉरेन करेंसी एसेट्स दैट इक्वल्स टू $429.82 billion. So this is the latest data as per the date of this, as per the month of this April 2020. Gold we are having which values $30.68 billion. Special drawing rights, that is your SDR, which equals to $1.43 billion. Reserve tranche position, that equals to $3.61 billion reserves. So this is all about the value of foreign exchange reserves which we maintain at the present date. So now let's understand one by one. If we talk about this foreign currency, again a MCQ can ask, like in all these 4 components, which component carries the more weightage as compared to the rest components. So that is for sure that correct answer is foreign currency assets. So इसके अंदर बहुत सारी करेंसीज है, बट मेजरली वी आर मेंटेनिंग करेंसी एसेट्स विच इंक्लूड्स 5 करेंसीज. फर्स्ट इज यूएस डॉलर, second is that euro, that is maintained by Europe. Next is Chinese renminbi, that is also known as yuan. Earlier it was known as yuan. Next is Japanese yen, and last one is the British pound sterling. So these 5 currencies we are maintaining. एक बात और याद रखना, दिस वाई वी आर मेंशनिंग यूएस डॉलर, बिकॉज डॉलर एक्सेप्टेड बाय लॉट ऑफ कंट्रीज अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड विद द डिफरेंट नेम. लाइक डॉलर इज ऑल्सो देयर इन हांगकांग, they are using Hong Kong dollar, so that dollar's value is totally different with the US dollar. So that always remember, you should always remember the prefix of dollar. Next we have SDR. What this SDR? क्या होता था? In the initial period of time when one country maintains the economic transactions with the rest of the world, they need the foreign currency, they need the exchange. So the ideal exchange component was gold. So these transactions maintained by IMF only. So here क्या हुआ, जब starting में gold use हो रहा था, but after few years what realized by the president of US, who has the major holding in the reserves of this IMF, and we are also one of the member of this IMF. So across around 200 countries are member. I'm not exactly remembering the fact information of IMF's member as of now, but across these members of this IMF, we are also one of the member of this IMF. So this SDR has replaced, or not replaced, but yes, in that sense we can say now this SDR all the member countries are using as the common currency, common component, so that they can they can borrow the foreign currency from this IMF institution. So this is defined as equivalent to 0.888671 grams of fine gold. Hence this SDR is also known as paper gold. तो सोना खत्म होता जा रहा था, उस सोने की जगह में SDR यूज होने लगा. दिस इज जस्ट अ सर्टिफिकेट विच कैरीज द वैल्यू ऑफ द होल्डिंग पेपर बाय द ईच मेंबर ऑफ दिस IMF institution. So after that this is also considered as equivalent to $1. After the collapse of the Bretton Woods system, the SDR was redefined as a basket of currencies. So that is all about this SDR. Reserve tranche, it is a portion of the required quota of the currency each member country must provide to the International Monetary Fund that can be utilized for its own purposes. So while being a member of this IMF, we have to maintain our position, that is reserve tranche position. So this quota generally decided by the IMF director as per the growth of the economy of nation. If we are on that position, then we will get a tranche position at the higher percentage form. Accordingly, we would able to take loan in terms of SDR. So again, SDR is depend upon the position of the country and the holding this reserve tranche position in IMF. Next we have another very important topic, that is convertibility. So if we are trading, if we are maintaining economic transactions in any component of current account, then definitely we have to convert our home currency into foreign currency, that is known as current account convertibility. Capital account convertibility means the freedom to convert the local financial assets into फॉरेन एसेट्स. अब जैसे कि इंडिया को अपना एसेट पूरा बेच देना है, किसी फॉरेन जो फॉरेनर है उसको बेच देना है, या फिर हम लोग पूरा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं बाहर से, तो क्या होगा ऐसे में, जो सपोज इफ वी आर गोइंग टू इन्वेस्ट आवर होल प्रॉपर्टी आउटसाइड, for that definitely we require dollars from the dealers who resides in India. So what we will lose we will lose the most valuable currency in the world. That not need to be happen. That is capital account convertibility. Why I am saying? Because in India as of now, we are considering, we are adapting current account convertibility as fully. But if we talk about this capital account convertibility, partially we have accepted this capital account convertibility as partial, because this fear factor. Next we have exchange rate system. How we exchange, like how our regulatory authority so basically this exchange rate system, why we required this system in the nation, it is also known as currency system, which established the way in which the exchange rate is determined. So the value of the home currency with respect to the other currency, that has to be known, that has to be calculated, that is your rating system. So this there are three types across the world which known as floating exchange rate system, fixed exchange rate system, and the last one is managed floating system. So what exactly about this? From the very starting point of these international transactions, we considered as fixed exchange rate system, which is adopted by IMF in the international world. And in the same way, the nation, the member country also accept this exchange rate system as fixed. So who has decided by this exchange rate system? The central bank of the nation. So this is that was the fixed exchange rate system. But later on, it was deciding by the thinking process of lot of countries, especially for those countries which are developed in the international market. Like we would consider exchange rate system as floating, which purely depend upon the market forces, that are demand and supply. So that is totally about floating exchange rate system, which largely adopted by the Western countries in the world, or developed nations in the world, like USA, Canada. So these are the countries who are adopting this floating exchange rate system. These countries are in a very fruitful situation, because their home currency's value is carrying high value in the market. So but if we talk about India, then definitely if we adopt this floating exchange rate system, definitely our home currency's value will get down sharply. So we cannot accept this floating exchange rate system in the country. Third one, we have managed floating system, in which is a mixture of this fixed exchange rate system and floating exchange rate system. What happens if something would be happen in the market in wrong direction? In wrong means when we have a situation when our home currency's value is getting down sharply, then definitely there must be involvement of the central monetary authority in the picture, who can take the decision or initiative so that the currency's value will not be get down sharply. So that is all about managed floating exchange rate system. Next we have lot of lot of terms, but very important terms which we have to understand, like depreciation, appreciation, and devaluation, and so on. So let's understand one by one. If we talk about this depreciation, it refers to the decrease in the external value of the domestic currency occurred due to the operation of the market forces. Suppose if we are demanding more foreign goods, then definitely we have to purchase that goods from the outside country. For that we have to pay, and while paying the currency, we need foreign currency. So what happens? The same example which I have given in the previous slides, the value of home currency will get down sharply, because there will be dealers who decrease the exchange rate system, and who takes huge amount of rupees, huge amount of domestic currency. In return they will give the less currency of foreign. That is all about depreciation. Just opposite is appreciation on the basis of the market forces, when there will be increase in the external value of the domestic currency. How it can be possible? If we are exporting more and more to the rest of the world, then definitely our currency's value will be appreciated. Next we have two terms which are totally opposite, which works as similar as depreciation and appreciation, but the reason is totally opposite. Devaluation means the lowering, the decreased value of currency, but it is done by the government intentionally. That is devaluation. In the opposite, there is revaluation, when deliberately rise of the exchange rate system by the government. Next we have terms like hot money, hard currency, and so on. Hot currency means the very popular currency which carries the huge demand in the market and ensures investors lock in the highest available short term interest rate. So this currency is acceptable across the world. This currency runs in the international market very frequently. That is hot money, whose carries huge demand value in the market. Hard currency means those hot currencies which having the huge demand in the market, then definitely dealers will reduce the supply. They will reserves their supply so that they can get the huge exchange rate system in the market, and they will get huge profit while exchanging the currencies. So this is this hot currency will become hard currency. So it is a very stable, but it does not change with the change in the value related with the other currencies. Again, there is another definition of this hard currency. It is a very stable, but this is also very hard to receive this currency due to its hot money nature. Next we have soft currency. It is known as those currencies which have very less value in the market, which carries very low value in the market. Then definitely this currency will be available everywhere, so this currency will be considered as soft. It is unstable, unconvertible with other currencies because it has low demand in the market. Then definitely it will be no use to convert with the other currencies like Indian rupees. Next we have term like currency swap agreement. It is an agreement to exchange currency between two foreign parties. अगर दोनों parties ने exchange कर लिया, suppose इंडिया जापान की बात करें तो जापान की जो है वो इंडिया रख लेगा करेंसी, और इंडिया की जो रुपी करेंसी डेट विल बी होल्ड बाय जापान. दैट इज स्वैप एग्रीमेंट. So in the end of this session, I hope you got all the concepts. Rest part, if something would have left, then definitely will be covered in the solving of MCQs. Once we complete whole syllabus of SEBI grade exam and RBI, then definitely we will pick up another topic, another headings, another terms of this topic while solving MCQs. Thank you.